Welcome to Lesson 0. Before we open any tools or talk about search tricks, I want to set the tone for the whole course. OSINT is often misunderstood. Some people hear the word and immediately think of hacking, secret databases, or digging into private lives. That is not what we are doing here. This course is about legal public information investigation, material that is already publicly available, handled carefully, checked properly, and turned into judgment someone else can review. Imagine a friend sends you a screenshot and asks, "Is this real?" The beginner's instinct is to ask, "Which website should I use?" A more careful investigator asks, "What exactly is the claim? Where did this screenshot come from? Can I find the original? Is there another source?" That shift is the heart of the course. Across 173 lessons, we move from zero background to a complete investigation workflow. Not just, "I found something," but "I can explain how I found it, why I trust it, what it does not prove, and what should happen next." The problem today is not a lack of information. Usually, it is the opposite. You search one topic and get search results, screenshots, social posts, comments, videos, maps, old web pages, and maybe a few reports. Very quickly, the question changes from, "Can I find anything?" to, "Which of these can I actually trust?" That is what this course is designed to solve. We are not stopping at search. We are training the whole chain. Ask a clear question, find relevant sources, preserve evidence, test what you found, make a careful judgment, and deliver it in a way another person can use. Search is useful, but judgment is the real skill. Let's ground this in real tasks. Suppose your team is considering a new supplier. Their website looks clean. Their sales deck looks professional. But public records may tell a more complicated story. Ownership changes, lawsuits, supplier complaints, hiring shifts, or news mentions. OSINT helps you look beyond the brochure. Or imagine a dramatic photo spreading online during a breaking event. Instead of asking, "Do I feel this is true?" we ask, "Has this image appeared before? Does the location match? Does the time match? Who posted it first? Are local sources saying the same thing?" The same logic applies to account checks, security risk, business research, content creation, and everyday decisions. Different scenes, same discipline. Turn public clues into something explainable. OSINT stands for Open Source Intelligence. In plain language, it means public information investigation. The word public matters, but it is not enough. Copying a post is not intelligence. Saving a screenshot is not intelligence. We need to verify, compare, connect, and explain. And there is a hard boundary. Public investigation does not mean breaking into systems, bypassing permissions, stealing data, tricking people, or abusing personal information. If a method cannot be described openly and responsibly, it does not belong in this course. This is one of the most important ideas in the course. Information is not intelligence. A company name is data. A company announcement with a date is information. Understanding that announcement together with lawsuits, hiring changes, and ownership records is knowledge. A judgment such as partnership risk is elevated and needs more verification is intelligence. Here is a small example. The company changed its legal representative last month, may mean nothing by itself. But if the same company also has supplier disputes, sudden layoffs, and several new lawsuits, the signal becomes more serious. We still do not overstate it. We do not say, "This company is definitely bad." We say what the evidence supports. There are risk signals, confidence is limited, and further checks are needed. That is the move from knowing facts to using facts. A good investigation is not a random walk through websites. It is a workflow you can review later. We begin with the question. Then we protect ourselves. Law, privacy, and OPSEC. OPSEC simply means operational security, or in everyday terms, not mixing your real identity and personal environment with investigation activity. After that, we collect, verify, save evidence, manage data, analyze, write, and review. In a real task, these steps may loop. You may verify a photo, find a contradiction, return to collect more, and revise your conclusion. That is normal. What matters is that the path is visible. The course has 4 tracks because one track alone is not enough. If you only learn tools, You may collect a lot but still not know what it means. If you only learn theory, you may sound organized but fail to find evidence. If you can collect and analyze but cannot explain your conclusion, the work still does not help anyone. So we build 4 abilities together: intelligence thinking, collection skills, verification and analysis, and delivery. In simpler words, ask better questions, find better leads, judge more carefully, and explain more clearly. Here is the big map. The 173 lessons are grouped into 16 stages. The early stages build the foundation: what OSINT is, how intelligence works, how to stay inside legal and safety boundaries, and how to treat sources and evidence. The middle stages are practical collection and verification: search, public records, images, video, locations, people, accounts, companies, network assets, and social media spread. Then we move into organization, structured analysis, AI-assisted workflows, misinformation, scenario practice, reports, and the final capstone project. The route is long because the work is real. Real investigations need more than one clever trick. Stage 1 is orientation. It answers a simple but important question: what are we actually learning? Before you collect tools, you need a map. A search engine, a map service, a company database, and a web archive are all useful, but each one answers a different kind of question. This stage helps you see the course as a system instead of a pile of websites. By the end of this stage, you should understand the course boundary, the difference between a tool course and a workflow course, what a complete investigation looks like, and how to prepare your own learning setup. Stage 2 is where we learn to think in terms of intelligence requirements. Take a vague request like, is this company reliable? Reliable for what? As a supplier, a partner, an investment target, a source of information. Each version requires different evidence. This stage teaches you to break that broad request into key questions and essential information needs. You will see terms like intelligence cycle, PIR, EEI, collection plan, intelligence products, and confidence language. They may sound formal at first. Their job is very practical: keep the investigation from drifting. Stage 3 is safety and boundaries. Public information work can still expose you. You might use the wrong account, leave a trace, contact someone unnecessarily, or collect information that the task does not justify. So we learn threat modeling, environment isolation, account separation, and exposure control. A good rule: before checking someone else, check your own setup. If your browser, personal account, device, and investigation identity are all mixed together, even a small task can become messy. Stage 4 is where we stop treating every screenshot as proof. Someone may say, "I saw it online." That tells us almost nothing. Was it the original source? A repost? A cropped screenshot? A media summary? A translation? Each layer can add mistakes. So we learn source rating, evidence chains, second sources, counter-evidence, and conclusion boundaries. A strong conclusion is not loud. It is traceable. Stage 5 is search and public source discovery. This is where tools become useful, but we still do not treat search as magic. Search engines crawl, index, rank, personalize, and miss things. Once you understand that, search operators make more sense. You are not typing spells. You are negotiating with an index. For a company check, a normal web search is only the front door. You may also need public records, government databases, court records, procurement notices, commercial databases, web archives, and industry sources. The output is a source map: where to look, why to look there, and what each source can or cannot prove. Stage 6 deals with images, video, and location. This is one of the most useful parts of OSINT because visual material spreads fast and loses context fast. A photo can be real and still misleading. It may be old. It may show a different place. It may be cropped. A video may show a real event but be attached to the wrong story. So we reverse search images, extract video keyframes, inspect metadata carefully, compare landmarks, check maps, look at shadows and weather, and record counter-evidence. We do not rush to say fake. We ask what the visual evidence actually supports. Stage 7 covers people, accounts, and identity. This area needs caution. You may need to know whether two public accounts are connected, whether an avatar is reused, whether a username appears elsewhere, or whether a profile is impersonating someone. These are legitimate questions in many investigations. But identity evidence is often weaker than it feels. Shared usernames can be coincidence. Avatars can be stolen. A timeline can suggest a connection without proving it. So this stage trains careful language. Likely, possible, unconfirmed, needs more evidence. Stage 8 is business, organization, and financial intelligence. You do not need to become an accountant. But you do need to read public business signals. A company homepage may look healthy while public records show litigation, ownership changes, unpaid disputes, unusual hiring, or supply chain problems. The skill is connecting signals without exaggerating them. One lawsuit may mean little. A pattern of lawsuits, leadership changes, and supplier complaints may justify a higher-risk judgment. The final output should be useful. What is known, what is uncertain, and what needs follow-up. Stage 9 introduces network assets and technical intelligence, with one rule before everything else. Authorized, public, non-intrusive work only. We use domain clues, DNS records, certificate transparency, WHOIS, public code, and leak mentions to understand an organization's public technical footprint. Sometimes these sources reveal old brands, forgotten subdomains, vendor relationships, or exposed documents. But we do not cross into exploitation or permission bypassing. The useful deliverable is an asset inventory and a risk note, not an attack path. Stage 10 asks how information spreads. A claim moves through people, accounts, groups, screenshots, reposts, and timing patterns. Sometimes the important question is not only, is this claim true? But also, why is it spreading now? Who amplified it? What context disappeared? This stage helps with news verification, brand risk, incident monitoring, and research. We look for key accounts, propagation paths, topic evolution, information pollution, and public opinion risk. But we stay careful. Do not claim coordination unless the evidence supports. Stage May 11th sound less exciting than image verification or account tracing, but it is the backbone of serious work, organization. Imagine collecting 40 links, 12 screenshots, 6 profiles, and 3 timelines. If everything sits in one folder with names like final2.png, you will not trust your own work a week later. So we build source libraries, search logs, timelines, entity tables, evidence directories, notes, and case management habits. It is not bureaucracy. It is how your future self can still understand your past investigation. Stage 12 is where we train structured analysis. The danger in OSINT is not only false information. It is also our own first explanation. We see a few clues, the story feels right, and suddenly every new fact gets pulled into that story. Structured analysis slows that down. We generate competing hypotheses, check key assumptions, use evidence matrices, look for counter-evidence, estimate probability, explore scenarios, and watch for deception. For example, a video may be current. Or it may be old footage reused. Or it may be real footage from a different location. A good analyst lets those possibilities compete before making a judgment. Stage 13 brings in AI and automation, carefully. AI can help monitor sources, summarize long documents, extract entities, cluster material, and draft structured notes. That can save real time. But AI can also hallucinate, mistranslate local expressions, flatten cultural context, mismanipulated images, and sound confident when the evidence is weak. So the human remains responsible for checking sources and making the final judgment. The goal is not, let AI investigate. The goal is a semi-automatic workflow where automation reduces repetitive work and humans keep control. Stage 14 is practice under scenarios. A company check, a news verification task, an account linking task, and a geolocation task do not use the same source map. They also do not use the same evidence standard. This stage trains you to choose methods based on the question, not based on habit. We also add physical world OSINT, public meetings, hearings, field observation, public notices, local context. Sometimes the best public source is not another website. It is a public record, a local meeting agenda, or a sign visible in the environment. The practice output is usually short, a clear brief with evidence, limits, and next steps. Stage 15 is report and delivery. An investigation is not finished when you personally understand it. It is finished when someone else can use it. That means structure, evidence presentation, confidence language, visualization, and oral briefing. One habit matters a lot: separate fact, inference, and judgment. The company changed ownership in March is a fact. This may indicate restructuring is an inference. Supplier risk is elevated is a judgment. If you mix those together, your report sounds stronger than it really is. Stage 16 is the capstone project. Here the pieces come together: requirement note, source list, evidence directory, analytic judgment, investigation report, defense, and review. Defense does not mean arguing loudly. It means you can explain your reasoning. Why did you trust this source? Why did you reject that screenshot? What would change your conclusion? What is still uncertain? If you can answer those questions, your investigation is much stronger. The best result is not only one finished report. It is a reusable workflow you can improve next time. Let's connect the course to one complete example: checking whether a company is a safe partner. We would not start by searching the company name for an hour. We start by breaking the question down. Safe in what sense? Legal risk, financial stability, reputation, ownership transparency, delivery ability. Each sub-question points to different sources. Court records may answer one part. Company filings answer another. News archives, supplier complaints, hiring signals, and procurement records may add more context. A useful final judgment might sound like this: public records show several risk signals, especially recent litigation and supplier complaints. Partnership may still be possible, but contract terms, payment history, and ownership structure need further verification. That is far more useful than simply saying, "Looks suspicious." Every knowledge point should become an action. Source rating becomes, "Where did this claim originate?" Geolocation becomes, "What landmarks, roads, shadows, and maps support this place?" Structured analysis becomes, "What else could explain the same evidence?" Report delivery becomes, "Can someone understand my judgment without asking me to explain everything again?" That is how we avoid passive learning. After each lesson, you should be able to do one small thing better. Name a file clearly, capture a timestamp, record uncertainty, or write "likely, but limited by," instead of pretending certainty. Each lesson follows a cycle, but not as a formality. Concept, case, method, practice, output, review. Those steps exist because "I understand it" and "I can use it" are different things. A concept tells you what problem we are solving. A case makes it real. A method gives you steps. Practice forces your hands to try it. The output leaves a trace. Sometimes the output is a source rating table. Sometimes it is a timeline, a verification note, a risk matrix, or a short conclusion. The format changes, but the standard stays the same. Can we review it later? The output standard is simple. Every lesson should leave something checkable. Not just, "That was interesting." Not just a browser history full of tabs. A small, clean output is better than a big vague impression. Use separate areas for materials, records, analysis, and final output. Give files names that mean something. Record links, timestamps, and why a source matters. For example, screenshot1.png tells you almost nothing. 2026-07-14, company, court, record, source A.png is not beautiful, but it tells your future self what it is. By the end, the target is a complete investigation chain. Can you define the problem before searching? Can you work safely? Can you collect from multiple public sources? Can you verify and analyze? Can you deliver the conclusion clearly? That is stricter than, "I found something online." Finding something is easy. Explaining reliability, limits, confidence, and next steps is the real skill. This course is for people who want to use public information seriously. Beginners can use it as a structured entry point. Security, risk, and compliance workers can use it to build reviewable risk judgments. Business researchers can use it to understand companies, industries, supply chains, and unusual signals. Writers, researchers, and content creators can use it to build evidence-based stories. Everyday learners can use it to judge news, scams, identity claims, and public rumors more carefully. You do not need a technical background to start. You do need patience, curiosity, and a willingness to verify. This course is not for someone who only wants a magic tool list. Tools are included, of course. But the center is method, question, source, evidence, analysis, delivery. It is also not for people who want to cross boundaries, expose private information, skip records, or ignore evidence that disagrees with them. If you only want a fast answer that sounds exciting, this course will feel slow. That slowness is intentional. Good investigation is often calm, documented, and careful. Let's make the boundary explicit: legal, public, necessary, and restrained. Public does not mean free to abuse. A piece of information can be visible and still be harmful to spread without purpose. Every conclusion should trace back to evidence. Every method should survive review. Also remember, investigators can be misled, exposed, or manipulated too. So the boundary protects others, and it protects you. 2 lines stay fixed throughout the course: no intrusion, no abuse. If a task pushes you toward either one, stop and redesign the method. Before the next lesson, prepare one real question. Keep it small if you want. Is this company worth trusting? Is this news image old? Does this location match the claim? Is this account pretending to be someone else? Prepare a folder as well: materials, screenshots, source links, timelines, notes, and practice reports. And prepare one habit: every conclusion should carry source, time, evidence strength, and uncertainty. Lesson 0 gave you the landscape. Next lesson, we start with the course map and begin walking the route step by step.